Hey everyone, a very warm welcome to you. It's so great to have you with us. Today, we're diving into one of the Quran's most powerful stories of resilience. We're going to see how a really painful military setback was transformed through divine revelation into this timeless lesson on faith, on failure, and on what it truly means to be strong. So, let's get right into it. And right here, this is really the heart of our story today. Just try to imagine you're in a moment of total despair, confusion, loss, and then these words are revealed. It's a promise. It's a divine reassurance that true strength, true superiority, isn't found in a single victory on a battlefield, but in an unwavering faith. See, this verse isn't some pep talk before the challenge. It's this profound comfort delivered right in the middle of the pain, reframing everything that happened as a path to something much, much greater. All right, so here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to set the scene of the battle itself. Then, we'll look at the Quran's incredibly deep diagnosis of what went wrong. From there, we'll see the clear path to recovery and forgiveness that's laid out. And finally, we'll uncover the ultimate, timeless insight that this entire event was meant to teach. Okay, first things first. To really grasp the wisdom here, we have to understand the wound. We need to go back in time to the battlefield of Uhud and see exactly what happened that day. So you get a picture of the scene before Uhud. The atmosphere was just electric. The Muslims had just come off this miraculous, unbelievable victory at the Battle of Badr, and morale was sky high. And as verse 143 mentions, many were now eagerly, almost romantically, wishing for the honor of martyrdom. But the Quran so gently points out a deep human truth. Wishing for a test is a very, very different thing from actually facing it. Now, the strategy for this battle was so simple, but absolutely brilliant. A group of archers was placed on a small hill that overlooked the battlefield. And their commander, the Prophet Muhammad, gave them one crystal-clear, non-negotiable instruction. Do not move. Not if you see us winning, not if you see us losing. Your job is to hold this position. The entire flank of the army, its very safety, depended on their discipline. And you know what? For a while, it was working perfectly. The battle turned in the Muslims' favor, and it looked like another decisive victory was just moments away. But then, seeing the enemy retreat, some of the archers made a fateful choice. They saw the spoils of war, the booty, on the battlefield below. And in that split second, the desire for worldly gain just completely overshadowed their sacred duty. They broke ranks. They rushed down the hill, leaving their posts critically, fatally exposed. So what happens next? A complete reversal. A really painful setback. But here's the thing. The Quran doesn't just describe what happened. It performs this deep, spiritual diagnosis to get to the absolute root cause of the problem. Okay, now this is where the Quran's analysis gets really fascinating, because it starts somewhere you might not expect at all. Not with military strategy, but with economics. Verse 130 warns against riba, or usury. And you might think, what does that have to do with anything? Well, the Quran is connecting the dots. It's saying that the same spiritual disease of greed, that intense desire for more and more material gain that fuels a system of exploitative interest, is the exact same disease that caused those archers to abandon their posts for a little bit of booty. And this, right here, just lays it out so clearly. The real battle at Uhud wasn't just against an opposing army on the field. It was an internal battle. It was a conflict between two completely different desires. On one side, you have the fleeting gains of this world, and on the other, as verse 133 puts it, the race towards God's forgiveness and an eternal paradise. The mistake, the whole setback, happened when that first column briefly won out over the second. And the fallout? Well, it was severe on every single level. The Quran is very clear that disobedience moves a person away from God's mercy and towards the fire. But there was also that immediate, painful consequence right there on the battlefield, a near victory that turned into a devastating setback. The lesson is powerful. Obedience to God and His messenger is the key to both spiritual safety and worldly success. But right after this really sharp diagnosis, the Quran's tone completely shifts. It just immediately moves to one of mercy and hope. It never, ever leaves the believer stuck in a state of guilt or despair. Instead, it lays out this clear, actionable path for healing, for recovery, for redemption. So, how do you get back on track? It all starts with character. Verse 134 gives us a beautiful description of the truly righteous. And get this, they aren't people who never make mistakes. They are people who are generous even when it's tough, who control their anger when they're provoked, and who pardon others. It's a prescription for building a resilient character and, really, a strong community. And this really gets to the core of what the Battle of Uhud brought to light. It exposed a crucial difference. When a true believer made a mistake, as verse 135 describes, their immediate response was to remember God, to seek His forgiveness, and to stop the wrongdoing. The hypocrites, on the other hand, just persisted in their error. They actually used the setback as an excuse to abandon the community altogether. You see, the mistake wasn't the differentiator, the repentance was.
I mean, what a powerful message of hope, right? The verse asks this beautiful rhetorical question, who can forgive sins except Allah? It's a reminder that the door to mercy is always, always open. The only condition is that we turn back sincerely and we make a firm commitment not to keep making that same mistake.
All right, now we get to the final section. And this is where the Quran just zooms all the way out from the battlefield to reveal the most profound lesson of all, a truth that would literally secure the future of the faith for all time.
So you might be asking, why? Why the amazing victory at Badr and then this painful setback at Uhud? Well, verse 140 gives us the divine perspective. It says, "And these days we alternate among the people." Victory and defeat aren't random. They are part of a divine system of testing, designed to reveal what's truly in people's hearts. You see, this setback wasn't some kind of random failure in the divine plan, it was the plan. Trials serve a purpose. They purify the true believers, they expose those whose faith is maybe just on the surface, and they teach a fundamental lesson. The path to paradise isn't easy. It requires real struggle, real sacrifice, real patience. Uhud was a real-world exam, not just a theoretical one. Okay, so picture this. You're in the thick of the battle. Chaos is everywhere. Things have turned against you. And then something happens that's designed to break your spirit completely. A rumor begins to spread like wildfire.
The rumor starts to fly. The prophet is gone. He's been killed. And for a moment, some of the believers just faltered. They thought, if the leader is gone, then what's the point? The whole mission must be over. It was the ultimate test of their conviction.
And right into that moment of absolute crisis, this world-changing verse is revealed. It's a direct, powerful question to every single believer then and now. Was your faith placed in a mortal man, or was it in the eternal God who sent him? Messengers come and they go, but the message is from God, and it is forever.
And that, right there, that is the ultimate lesson of Uhud. The faith is not built on a personality, no matter how beloved or divinely inspired that person is. It is built on the unshakable foundation of God's revelation. This principle, this idea, detached the religion from any single individual, ensuring its survival and its continuity long, long after the prophet's life. So let's just wrap this all up neatly. The problem at its core was greed and disobedience, which came from a focus on this world. The solution was obedience, immediate repentance, and refocusing on the eternal. And the ultimate shift, the big one, was moving from an attachment to a mortal leader to a complete and total devotion to the immortal message.
So why does any of this matter to us today, 1,400 years later? It's because we all have our own Uhud moments, don't we? Moments of setback, moments where we mess up, moments where something or someone we relied on seems to disappear. The lessons of Uhud are a timeless guide for how to respond, with repentance, with resilience, and with a faith that is attached to principles, not just people.
And that really leaves us with one final, big question to think about. In our own lives, in our communities, in our world, what are we building our foundations on? What is it that we believe to be truly lasting, truly unconquerable? Is it the leader, or is it the message?